In first grade, I became who I was going to be for the next 6 years. How? By stealing my dad's Cubs hat. Okay, not exactly steal, he let me have it, but 6-year-old me certainly thought I was a criminal mastermind. I took this hat, though, and I started wearing it. Not just every once in a while, not just when I went outside, but every minute of every day. It became who I was. Alex was the kid in the Cubs hat. Alex was the kid who people didn't recognize without his hat. Alex was the kid who convinced teachers that were anti-hat to let him wear it higher up or backwards instead of taking it off. I liked being that kid. Felt like it represented me somehow, made me likable, held up who I was. Without it, I was, just another kid? We've all found ourselves in situations like this, where it seems like something defines us and we can't let go of it. Today, I want to tell you guys something about that. I believe that in order to truly grow and mature, we need to be able to change and leave parts of ourselves behind. Throughout this talk today, I want you to think about what that is for you. What is a habit you have that has continuously defined you, like the hat defined me? Now, this hat went through thick and thin with me. It became my best friend. Every photo of me from elementary school to 7th grade had that blue hat on my head. I was the hat, and the hat was me. When I started wearing it, I lived in Mumbai, India. 2 years later, I was moving to America, and I still wore the hat. 3 years after that, I moved to Budapest. The hat was still sitting on my head. I had friends who copied me, going out, buying their own hats, wearing them all the time. Every day, this hat became a bigger part of me over 3 different countries and 5 different years. It's interesting how this simple habit became part of my identity. And you know what? I bet this has happened to you guys too. According to Diverse Daily, there's a dynamic feedback loop that connects habits and identity. This article cites the example of a person who eats well and exercises a lot. After a certain point, they will start to view themselves as that person, a healthy eater, an athlete. This shift in identity, it ultimately feeds back into their habits. As they continue to see themselves as that healthy athlete, it reinforces the habits that made them that. We've all gone through this. We all hold on to old habits as they become part of who we are. It's exactly what happened with my hat. I wore it so often, I became the hat kid. Once I was a hat kid, I had to keep wearing the hat. It was me. So as you can imagine, when I lost it backstage in the school musical in 7th grade, I was devastated. I searched all over the wings, the costume rooms, the prop closet, everywhere, but it couldn't be found. I was lost, and the heartbreak in my little 12-year-old heart was palpable. A part of me was gone, and I started searching for replacements. For Christmas, my parents got me a new Cubs hat, but it wasn't the same. It was too bright, didn't fit right. Wasn't me. For 6 months, I wore a different hat, trying to salvage this part of me, until one fateful day in April, someone came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and they said, "Alex, isn't this your hat?" I was overjoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, Cubs hat, Alex was back! A moment later, though, I realized why that Christmas hat was so bright. Mine was dirty, disgusting, caked with grime and sweat, stained and almost gray, not to mention way too small, gave me a headache trying to put it back on. Put nicely, I had outgrown it. I had outgrown the thing that had defined me for the past 6 years, and it was not a pleasant feeling. It was suddenly clear to me that this thing that had defined me was no longer fit to represent me. It took losing the hat for me to realize that it wasn't meant to represent me forever. It's hard to let go of these things that feel like you, though. It's hard to say bye. In the past 2 years, my grade and I have been looking more at our futures, course selection, colleges, careers, all that fun stuff. Now, since about 4th grade, It had been my dream to join the US Coast Guard when I grew up. Think back to your own lives, or right now. What was your childhood dream? To be an astronaut, a police officer, a firefighter? Now, think about how you had to grow out of that. Because for me, it was hard. I realized that this dream that had become part of my identity had actually just formed itself into a rather meaningless habit. Maybe I didn't actually even want to join the Coast Guard anymore. I just liked the version of me that said that. Just like the hat, though, I had to outgrow it and realize that it was dirty and didn't fit so well anymore. It's hard to let go of things that you think define you, though, because it's scary to think that you might not be that person anymore. Here's the thing about that, though. Growing up and getting into high school, I've certainly had to think a lot deeper about what I actually want to do when I grow up, and it's hard to admit that it's not this thing I've been talking about for years, but it's not as hard because I realized that the reason I wanted to join the Coast Guard in the first place was to help people, to be adventurous. If that was all I wanted my identity to show, I could show that another way, without limiting myself. The hat limited me too, and losing it helped me realize that. Now, don't get me wrong, I still wear a hat most of the time, but I mix them up. I wear different ones every day, and sometimes I don't wear one at all. I remember and cherish the part of me that wore a Cubs hat every day, and I will never throw that hat away, but I have grown and allowed myself to realize that the hat was outgrown and dirty. Maybe you need to take off your hat too. Take it off because it's outgrown. It's dirty. It does nothing but limit you now. Allow the people around you to take off their hats too. Give them the grace to change themselves in order to grow. And remember that they're still the people that mean something to you. You can never move into the future if you don't allow the people around you and yourself to change and grow. Yes, your hat has become part of who you are. It's become part of who your friends are. It's your identity, and it's scary to think of losing that. But remember, if you do take it off, you're not losing it, you're transforming it. You're taking off the hat, putting it in a drawer, and trying on a different one. The people around you will not turn into different people if you allow them to change. They will turn into better people. Maybe. Experiment with not wearing any hat at all. Because yes, when you wear the same hat your whole life, you have a clear identity and you become a clear person. But that identity can't last you forever because it can't serve every purpose. You can never mature if you allow the same old habits to rule you your whole life. So I urge you, take off the hat. Feel the wind in your hair. Stop fearing losing yourself and start fearing never finding yourself. Thank you.